Right then, welcome. Good morning. It's another Thursday, and it's March 15. Shakespeare would talk about March 15 as the Ides of March. Okay then, welcome. Yesterday in the Olusosun area of Lagos State, in the Ojota area, a fire broke out, and our correspondent is there at the scene. We'll turn things over to her now. Sharon Ijason is there. Sharon, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hello, Sharon. Yeah. What can you tell us this morning?
Okay, right now at the moment, comparing the situation at Olusosun to today, there's a little bit of improvement. First, we have a little bit of traffic moving forward, and yesterday the smoke actually reduced visibility for people who were trying to move across the express. But right now it's a little bit clearer, but vehicles actually have to go slowly and probably use their indicator to ensure that no accident actually happens.
Able to place a finger on what triggered the fire?
I didn't get that, sir.
Are we able to place a finger on what actually caused the fire? How did the fire start? Are we able to establish that?
Right now, the best information we can get right now is that we have all the emergency management authorities actually on ground to actually do further investigation and evaluate the situation and also probably prevent such from occurring. But right now what we know is that we have so many people trying to make sure that motorists and residents have a clearer view of the road as they actually move on to their various destinations. Well, for most residents, they've been complaining about what they've been inhaling, like looking at the environmental hazard for them. It's a lot because they've not been actually comfortable for the last probably 12 hours.
Okay then, please confirm no casualty figure yet.
No, for now there are no casualties.
Okay. What about visibility? Has it improved in any way?
Well, visibility is not totally clear as I speak, but vehicles can actually move. But as I said earlier on, you might just have to use your indicator so that any vehicle coming behind you will notice that a vehicle is actually approaching. So it's very important for people to actually take safety measures while actually using the express routes today.
Sharon, we want to thank you for your time, and please stay on it. If there's any development, I'm sure you'll share it with us. Thank you. All right then. That's the situation. It started yesterday afternoon, like child's play, and the fire is still raging. Now then, to the business of the morning, untangling the commotion about an election roster. Our dear country continues to live out the interesting times. Both the executive and the legislative arms, while enjoying their respective independence, appear to be independent of the citizens they swore to protect. A benign election timetable is pitching both parties against each other and to the exclusion of the elector. Mr. President has withheld his assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2018. So you can say a battle line is drawn. I have this morning one of my two expected guests. Let's meet and greet O.J. Akinwale. Is an attorney at law. Well, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here again.
These are interesting times.
Yes.
The commotion about an election roster. Your understanding is important here because you are an attorney at law.
Yes. Well, let's start with, let's start from the cue of this present administration telling us about changes. So there is, in any development, in any society, whether political, economic, educationally, agricultural-wise, there must be change. And that change, normally there will be resistance, some people will embrace it, some people will apportion interpretation to it. But I'll come from the point of view of Nigerian, general common people who are the voters, who are going to vote. I'm part of the people that will vote.
Yeah,
so I'm going to speak from their perspective and look at it from the legal aspect. And then we cannot diverse political implication on it. So most of the issue that is on it now is more political than real. And that's the we have seen it. And generally, what about timetable? What is there? We can change timetable, just like writing examination, like WAEC. Even university, they will change the timetable. This is the first subject you can do. This is the last one you will do. But when the student is not ready for the examination, then it become an issue. Except that something.
So at that point, does the law protect the student? Can they go, you know, to protest the roster, the exam roster? Look, because you cannot say, I'm not prepared for the exams, but can they legally make to change the election, the examination timetable? Normally,
if there is a procedure to follow, and the procedure is followed by the authority, the students, except they will just want to cause commotion, or they are not ready and they are using it as an excuse. So that is the way I'm seeing it. And challenging the roster now of the election, and we end up going to court. They're already in court. There's already court verdict. And again, that one is just interim order. And there will be more order to come. There is judgment to come. At the end of the day, are we going to start the election at the right time? Because if we're in court, that means injunction upon injunction. And that's the reason I want the president or the executive now to have a holistic look at this issue. And both the executive and the National Assembly to have a synergy. You know, there is a procedure the law allows us. And the president has vetoed it. He did not sign it. And he has his reason why it's not signing.
Let me share a line in his statement, his letter to the National Assembly. He said one particular line: the amendments by the lawmakers were in conflict with existing laws. At the National Assembly, we have a lot of your colleagues, lawyers. We have a preponderance of lawyers at the National Assembly. So why this hula baloo at this time?
One thing about the law is subject to interpretation. It can be interpreted here.
But every law we are told is pursuant to the Constitution of the country.
The Constitution, the National Assembly, according to the Constitution, they have the power to make laws. And in doing that, what they did is within their power. And they will now forward the law to the president, who will now either sign it or refuse to sign it.
But this is an amendment to an existing electoral act, not the Constitution.
This is not the first time we have amendment. We recollect that there is a mischief that the last amendment cured. Well, the case of INEC and Amici came in. And Amici did not contest the election, the former governor, now the minister. He did not contest the election, and at the end, it was declared winner because of the existing law, and the amendment was made. So if you look at the preamble of the Electoral Act, it is the act of the National Assembly. And if you look at rule-making procedures, in rule-making procedure, there is what we call administrative rule-making power being given. Is a sub-delegation given to the National Assembly, and it has enumerated it in the Electoral Act. They are the one to fix the timetable that this is the dates. The date does not include the sequence
of elections.
Of the elections. The date is, okay, on the 7th, and the National Assembly did not make that law that we are doing the presidential election on the 7th or on the 8th. What they did is a framework that is having what we call the rule-making power given to the to the INEC, that you will fix the date. We will not fix the date. We will do what we can do for you. So you are the one to look at the preparedness, and when you are ready, you are going to fix it.
In other words, you are the lecturer. You determine when the elections should come,
yes,
or when the exam should come.
The exam should come.
So the student, in this case, the National Assembly,
yes,
should have no say?
The National Assembly will say, this is the way we want it. 100 level examination first, 200 level examination will follow, 300 level examination will follow. That's what they did. It's now for the VC to now say, okay, 200 level, this is the date. 200 level, this is the date. That is what the National Assembly did. And we know that the rules, the power given to the National Assembly, given to INEC, is a rule-making power gotten from the delegation of the National Assembly. And the National Assembly has the power to amend. And what they did, they are the one that amended the Electoral Act before, and what they are doing now is not unconstitutional. So what they did is not giving the date, unless there is a mischief somewhere. I did not see anything why the president should be the first to contest first, or they will be the last to contest. We are the one to determine who is going to be our president.
Who does that?
The electorate.
Okay.
We are the voters.
So what's the place of INEC in all of this?
The INEC place is to be there as an umpire to see us make the decision. So I see no reason, even to me, the president should even welcome it, that, okay, it's a test. I won the last election, and I know I've done well, and I'm going to win again. Even if you put me at the last or the first,
or middle,
or the middle, the people will still decide. So that is it. And now, another dimension that came in, that you see that another political party, which is not one of the major political parties, has gone to court. And if you look at it, it's like the hand of the voice of Esau and the hand of the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau.
Yeah.
And you can see the team, the legal team that represented that political party. From it, people are watching and say that, okay, this is another way to unsettle the National Assembly. Let the normal course go. This is the president, he felt that this is it. And you know that this is not the only bill that the president did not sign. We have other 9 bills that the president did not sign. The National Assembly are doing their job, and I will not castigate them for that. And the president also have exercised his power, so he cannot dictate for them. But it's now for them to exercise the constitutional power given to them to now use the 2/3 majority to pass the law.
You have company now. We have your colleague joining us. So we'll take this break and return to discuss, if you didn't miss it, if you missed it, untangling the commotion about an election roster. We'll be back. All right, folks, we have company now, and good one at that. Babatunde Gbadamosi Olalere has joined us. He's an attorney at law, but a politician as well. So we are not talking about a political lawyer, but a professional in politics. Welcome.
Welcome. Let me just correct something you said just now. I am not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney at law.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a public policy analyst and a real estate developer, urban development expert, if you like.
That is regretted. I'm dealing with the information I was given.
Okay.
But you know the dynamics, especially of this subject matter.
I hope so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Understanding the commotion about an election timetable or roster, how much of it have you soaked in?
Well, I've watched the events that have followed the attempt by the amendment by the National Assembly of the Electoral Act, stating an order in which the elections must be followed. It must be noted, however, even in my trepidation, I have noticed that the National Assembly did not set dates. They did not go so far as to set specific dates and say, this election must be held on such a day, this election must be held on such a day, and this election must be held on such a day. They've simply given an order in which the elections must be held. And let's be truthful. The kind of democracy we are operating does have the tendency, the potential, to become a dictatorship if we allow it. And one of the ways in which that could happen is if we have a president that insists on wielding the full powers of
his office.
The office, which if they did, then we would, surely become a dictatorship. And one of the ways of introducing a check, in my opinion, which is why I tend to agree with the National Assembly, is to ensure that the presidential election is the one that comes last in a general election, so that the president will be on his toes. He will not be able to influence the outcome of the National Assembly elections. He will not be able to influence the outcome of the gubernatorial elections. He will not be able to influence the outcome of the State House of Assembly elections. His will be last, so he will have to perform to be able to get reelected.
I'm impressed by this perspective of yours. Whose business is it? Okay, put pointedly, what's the business of INEC in all of this?
INEC's business is to obey the law as enacted by the National Assembly. That's their job. I mean, the law that created INEC has set out their responsibilities, but that law was made by who?
National Assembly. Politicians.
And the National Assembly has the right, under the kind of tricameral governments that we're operating, where we have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. The National Assembly has the exclusive right, well, not entirely exclusive. The courts also do have, by way of interpretation of the laws created by the National Assembly, some right to create laws as well. But the National Assembly has the right to make law for Nigeria. And once they make those laws, we're obliged to obey.
What's the position of the law, while we await an assent or otherwise of Mr. President? What's the position of the law on what INEC does at a time like this?
Well, INEC has to obey the amendment once it passes.
There's been it's not been signed.
Yes, it's not been signed.
INEC's business is to organize elections.
That is their job.
Maybe fix dates?
Yes, they're also supposed to fix dates.
Determine
which
election comes first?
Yes, if there is no stipulation as to the order of elections, then that is their prerogative as well. But here, you have a situation where the National Assembly is trying to put in place, legally, an obligation on INEC to follow a specific order. Now, as things stand today, INEC still has the prerogative to decide what order the elections will come in.
Okay.
As things stand today.
Until
such a time as either the President gives his assent or refuses to, or the House of Assembly or the National Assembly chooses to override that veto.
Yeah, by two-thirds percent.
By two-thirds majority.
Uche, you are the lawyer here. How do you react to his submission?
Yes, also in agreement with what he said,
okay,
that we have the law already on ground, which shows that's the sequence that we'll be following is based on the Electoral Act. Now it's amended. That means that the INEC, until when it is amended, as at now, as it stands, that means that law, that section has not been repealed yet until the final decision by the National Assembly. And now a lot of school of thought came in that the National Assembly are doing this because of their own personal selfish reason, because some of them believe that they have problem with the presidency and they may not be able to come back to the position if the order is not changed. To me, the motive is different because nobody knows the mind of a man. Even the devil did not know the mind of man. The mind of man is not triable.
You think so?
Yes, the devil did not know. If not, nobody will change his mind. Nobody will be born again as Christians. so that's the reason I let you know that it is not triable. So I cannot go to the mind because for you to be able to say somebody is guilty for something or not, there are two things. There must be actus reus and the mens reus. The mens reus is the mental guilt. And then if there is no action, no matter how the mental guilt, there is no action, then such person cannot be declared guilty. Now, if the National Assembly, as the President has refused it, and if they let it go the way they've let those 9 bills that the President have refused to sign, that means that it shows that what people are saying is correct. But if indeed they believe that that sequence is what they believe.
The National Assembly is giving a hint they are likely to represent the bill to Mr. President for assent. But Tunde would agree that these are times when you allow conspiracy theories to fill the air. At the National Assembly, the belief by these theorists is that some APC senators, in alignment with PDP senators, friendly to the Senate president, are at war against APC senators who are for Mr. President. So we have a divided line.
Well, I don't know if that is true, but what I do know is that at the time the bill came up for debate in the House, just 9 senators stood up for Mr. President, or stood up against the amendment, as it were. 9 out of 109.
Out
senators.
of those present, it's safe to say.
Perhaps. But
there are 109. All 109 of them were not there.
That is true.
Okay.
But for the number of people that were present, 9 still represented a relatively insignificant number of senators that were against the amendment. Okay. And I dare say that if we had a full House, you'd probably not get much change over the 9 that stood up and,
again, that's a conjecture.
Yes, yes it is. I admit that. At this stage, I would like to make an appeal to both the Senate, who, to be honest, seem to be towing the path of peace by, instead of outrightly vetoing Mr. President's veto, overriding Mr. President's veto, have decided to represent the bill, to give Mr. President the opportunity to not appear as the dictator that many are saying he is. I personally think that it would behove better for this president to sign that amendment into law in order at least to redeem himself from allegations, some of which you have to admit have some merit.
You have not heard allegations against the National Assembly either?
Well, there have been allegations against the National Assembly of perhaps overspending, being overpaid and so on. And to some degree, I agree with some of the allegations,
okay.
Especially as some of them have been revealed by sitting senators. To that extent, yes, they have an issue. But in terms of doing their job, I think they've done their job quite well, all things considered, this particular Senate, confronted with some of the things that we have been faced with over the last 3 years.
Before I move to my friend, okay, both of you are my friends. Before I move to OJ, in all of this, the elector seems to be the one at sea.
I don't know. I think that there is a sense of anticipation in the electorate of the opportunity for their votes to actually make a difference. I think that anticipation is there. You can almost touch it. It's in the air. People seem to, want to be able to make their decision count, their vote count this time around. There is a sense in which people feel like their votes have never really counted, not even in 2015. But this time around, people want their votes to count, and there seems to be a groundswell of support for the amendment in the minds of the general public.
Okay.
But again, I base that on purely conjecture.
Which is allowed on a platform like
circumstantial evidence, so to speak.
OJ, at elections, the voter decides nothing. I'm talking about Africa. The man who counts the ballot decides everything. When we say Nigeria's democracy is a nascent one, aren't you worried that we're too long in the classroom learning and learning and learning?
Well, learning is a way of life. It's a continuous issue.
Okay.
But when you are learning the same thing all over and over, then it's worrisome. But what I've seen is that I want from the executive and also the legislature, I can feel the pulse of the people. People are confused now. But to let us enjoy more of the politics, they should allow that amendment because of what people tag as bandwagon. Because once the president is there, everybody wants to follow the winning team, irrespective of, they don't even scrutinize the candidate because they are being easily swayed. You know, electorate, we have very few time within that time to assess and make a decision. That's the time people will get to the polling booth, they don't even know which side to take. But when it follows that, like the role of INEC, I'm telling you, the present head of the INEC is enjoying that position because of the president's blessing. I'm telling you, if the
president's
president blessing, the president can change the INEC leader. He can change it. He has the power now.
Yeah.
But now, let me tell you that from the view of the people is what I'm talking about now. Now, if the INEC president will do presidential election first, you know, it can easily be controlled by the president about the next election, do this, do that. I'm telling you, I was in the studio yesterday, and there's a call from Kaduna, and the problem was that there is a systematic way of registration that people in Southern Kaduna were being left out. And even some of them are paying like 700 naira. Those who did not have the money will not be able to have the voters card.
Again, OJ.
No, I'm saying
this is still in the realm of conjecture.
Yes.
So you are not there.
Yes.
So don't give me that
I
as
was
a new
not
story.
there. What I'm saying.
So don't sell that to
Yes.
me.
Yes.
As here is to deal with facts.
Yes.
Well, we'll involve the elector, otherwise the viewer. If you may agree with what they're saying, you may not. It's your right. Let's come back after this break and broach everything arising from whatever they've just said. Untangling the commotion about an election roster or timetable, does it really matter in what order the election in this country is ordered? What's the role of INEC? All these and many more. Babatunde, the INEC is the examiner here.
Indeed.
Should the examiner be told what to do by the student, in a manner of speaking?
Well, I'm not sure that characterization is exactly correct.
Okay, correct it for me.
We're talking here about realpolitik. And the truth is, at the end of the day, if we do not introduce some form of checks and balances in the final repository of power, then we are likely to drift into a dictatorship.
Okay.
So it is essential, in my opinion, I think it's actually fundamental to Nigeria's survival, given the proclivities of our politicians and the dictatorial tendencies of those of us who find ourselves in positions of power, that there needs to be some measure of vulnerability to the most powerful seats in the country.
I teased him earlier on. I'm sure you were listening.
Yes.
We are a nascent democracy. For how long more must we remain nascent?
We must bear in mind that the American democracy after which we are patterned is 200 years old.
Well, we must wait 200 years?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But we must bear that in mind.
Yeah.
And understand that the process must be allowed. And I have to say that we have had, unfortunately, episodes where some of our politicians have actually rolled back some of the gains that we made over the years in terms of our general tolerance, the tolerance levels of the people in power. You know, those gains that we made a few years ago have been rolled back by some administrations without pointing any fingers.
Sorry. Let me take Yakub. Good morning, welcome. Yakub, join the fray.
Yeah, good morning, Citizen George.
All right, then.
Yeah, good morning to your guys in the studio.
Good morning, Yakub. How are you?
Yeah, fine, sir. For me, George, I believe the Mr. President has done the right thing by telling the National Assembly reason why he does not want to sign the bill into law. And then it is not good for the National Assembly as they take the step to the court. Let the judiciary decide whether they have the right to change the mode of our election almost maybe a year to the general election. If the judiciary now tells Nigerians that, yes, they have the right to do so, so be it. But for me, personal opinion, if I was Mr. President, Citizen Jones, I would like to sign that bill. You know why? Number one, some of the senators and the reps that they believe that they can win the election on themselves. I can tell you the present senator, the people in the National Assembly, I mean the Green Chamber, I can tell up to 70% of them are not likely to come back. You know why? Nigeria will have the right to look into them one-on-one, people that come to campaign, seeking for our elections. Then the power of recalling will not be worked by them. Because if I fought for you, and then I knew that you won the election before the general election, before the president election, you campaign, you telling me what you are going to the National Assembly to do, and then you get there and do otherwise. Citizen Jones, we will now mobilize ourselves to recalling you. If I will be Mr. President, as I said earlier, I will sign it into law. Let's try our own popularity. Thank you. And God
Okay, then. More like saying, OJ, more like saying, be careful what you want, you may get it.
Yes, yes. That's the reason I said, to me, I love the law because it's now to test everybody. I mentioned it that the issue of bandwagon that we want to follow the president. If I'm for the president, and this senator, I believe that if I vote other party, which I know has a better candidate, the person, because they are different political party, may have problem with my president in passing some good law because they will not do it. And that's the reason that, you know, influencing people. That's what he's saying now. There is some that have said, we're going there, we cooperate with this administration, both administration with our party, we will do this. And we've not seen the change. Then that means that those people, we've seen what they are doing, like he rightly said, the caller said, then it will be a way to mark them. There is a scores card, they will receive it. So that's the reason I said I would love the law. But there are some issues which the president also mentioned. Apart from this issue of amendment, the other aspect that the president said, okay, this other amendment, they should look into that. On those constitutionality of those local government issue, that they should look at that too. And let them get, I won't stand here to give them legal advice, free legal advice, but I'm giving them the one that I know that's for the people and speaking for the people here.
Okay then. Babatunde, the president said inter alia, the amendments by the lawmakers were in conflict with existing laws, in this case, the Constitution. How do you react to that? Because we assume, or we know, every law is pursuant to the Constitution.
Yes, I agree. To some extent, no. Let me put it like this. I disagree with the president. I disagree with him because the National Assembly is the final arbiter as far as producing laws for Nigeria. Even the Constitution can be amended by them, of course, following a specific procedure of taking that amendment to 2/3 of
36 states
of the houses of assembly of 2/3 of the states, you know. But the procedure for amending the Constitution is there. So if he says that it's against in this particular instance, to amend the Electoral Act, it does not require a constitutional amendment. It doesn't.
Let's take us to Ekiti State, where Benga is waiting. Benga, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Citizen Jones.
I greet you, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, go on.
All right. Yeah. Considering yes, I will support the president giving his reason. However, it is also important, yes, that we take our political elections bottom up. But I think that considering the present National Assembly, first, they have a personal interest. They are not sure that if Mr. President is voted in, many of them may not be returned because of their opposition to Mr. President. And so they are not so sure. So they wanted to be sure that if they are elected first, then they can do whatever. If they want to give their support to Mr. President, they will. If not, they will do otherwise. But generally speaking, I would prefer a bottom-up election.
All right.
So not in 3 days, 2 days maximum. Do the state and the state out of assembly and the state 1 day. Then National Assembly and presidential 1 day. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. How does that go with you?
I personally think that this amendment will help us clarify things. It will make the polity and people's opinions clearer.
But can the senators or National Assembly members, in all honesty, tell the elector, we have taken this message to our constituents? Have you felt that? Have they gone back to the constituents to tell them, look, this is why we are doing
That's why I said earlier that there appears to be a groundswell of opinion in support of the amendment. There seems to be a sense in the country that this particular president...
No, address my question.
Yes.
Each senator, each rep is supposed to go back to his constituency, call a town hall or whatever.
That appears to be the case.
Okay.
It appears that the constituents of each senator agree with them. That's why there seems to be, if you look at social media, if you look at what people are writing in the traditional media, if you look at what people are saying on the streets, it seems to be that everybody wants...
So you believe the social media news?
Not news as such. You know, you just have to take snapshots of what people are saying generally across the board about this specific issue. And I've done that.
There's a danger here.
And what's that?
Allowing the social media platforms to be the news monger, if you see
what
I mean.
What about the traditional media platforms?
We'll come to that.
Is there no danger in allowing them to be the ones directing public opinion?
It's not about a Hobson's choice, but I have a choice here. Let me take Okorafo in Abakaliki. Welcome, Okorafo. Mazi. In Abia Arochuku. Yeah. Mazi, are you there?
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mazi.
Good morning, Mr. Jones.
I agree to you. I agree to you.
Yes, that's what I'm going
But let me quickly ask you. Confirm your senator came back home and sounded you people out on this exercise.
You see, Mr. Joseph, I don't know why National Assembly are complaining. Even some politicians, why are they complaining? Look at what John Maxwell said. He said, leadership is not about title. Leadership is not about position. Leadership is not flow chart. It is about one life, influencing another, by John Maxwell. Now you ask yourself, if the populace are seeing the dividends of democracy 247 in this country, in all the 36 states of including Abuja, there will be no grumbling. Our politicians carry the best option for them, whether change of timetable or no timetable adjustment, they should carry all the populace in their constituency along. But what do they mean? Dividends on oligarchs is not something hard. When you look at the jumbo money they pack every day, per minute, per second. Now, look at the National Assembly. Look at what happened in UK. When the Prime Minister came and when they were, you see the number of the positions. Now, how many members of the National Assembly will come to both House of Rep and Senators come to the Assembly every day? Just they are saying that every day you see FCC. And these people collect money, Nigerian money, taxpayers' money. Well, go ahead, for. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Many thanks. OJ, that's an elector. He's calling from Abia. Well, I'm not pretending he didn't hear my question. Did your senator come back to sound you people out on this amendment thing?
Well, I've heard about the bill before. but you know, it's very speedy.
Where did
While
you
they
hear
were
from?
debating it, because it's something that I've had even a month before that time. And I had the
Maybe
opportunity.
you missed me first time.
Yes.
Did your senator come back to the constituency and call a meeting? Look, we are doing this.
Well, I have not even been able to attend any meeting by a senator. And I have not been able to.
Presuming
But,
anyone was called.
But I follow senators' social media, and sometimes drop some information there, which I followed, because I also follow social media, although we know that there is a danger in it. But when you did not have information at all, you should not close your eyes to any source of information, because it may be very handy. So that's the way I see the social media information, especially if it is from the direct information, like the governor. I follow the governor's social media to know what is happening, though I'm not in the hall where they call them, but I'll be able to put in my input and to encourage them. I believe that some of this encouragement, people like us that follow their social platform, is what makes them to believe that they have the majority support.
But if in the event of both the president and the National Assembly members digging in, the elector is still at sea, is the one to lose.
It will come to an end at some point. We're in court now, apparently, over this matter. I think until sometime in March, 22nd, I think it is, that the adjournment is to. And at that point, the injunction, the injunction that was, the temporary injunction that was served on the House, I think will expire on that date. And then, you know, they can go to the interlocutory issue as to whether the House must stop or the House must continue. So by the 22nd, we'll have a way forward as to what to do. It's either Mr. President is going to sign
Or
not. The court will say the House has no right to legislate on that specific issue, which is highly unlikely, I think.
Don't preempt the court.
I'm not preempting
But
the court.
let me take you to Kaduna now.
Yes.
David is waiting. How are you, sir? Hello, David.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let's go, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Good morning, David. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Actually, second guest here, Mr. Ojo, actually raised the point how that in Southern Kaduna, the registration is not so fluent. That point is very valid. And I think INEC should be drawn, INEC's attention should be drawn to it, so that they would consider it. Places like Kakuri, Rome, Narai, talking about places like Kudende, places like how do you call that, Angonde, Gero, and other places there. There's no fully uniform registration. And it is very alarming. And everywhere around the north, you find people
David, while
this is very painful.
David, while I may agree with you without conceding, for me it would be best if our correspondent was telling me all this.
I can hardly hear you, please.
No. I'm saying without conceding anything to you. Yes, it's your right so to complain. It would have been a lot better if our correspondent was on the spot and telling me these things you are telling me. I cannot corroborate what you are saying, but if it is true,
I understand your point.
INEC is watching. INEC watches
that. Yeah. What I'm saying is, can you hear me, please?
Go on.
Yes. And what I'm saying is, INEC's attention should be drawn to that. That's one. Then on another hand, I don't think the senators have to go around every all their constraints to now bring up this issue of how do you call it now, this the amendment, because the social media already does all the work. I think if you're saying that you should call a town hall meeting at point of technology, it will be taking us backward. So please let's also take advantage of the internet that we have in Nigeria and then make decisions. The president should have given assent to this, and it would have been nice to be able to change.
I agree.
Nigeria.
I defer to you, sir. I'm worried also, OJ, by the level of literacy in the country. My old uncle is not internet savvy, and so on. So you expect everybody to go to the net and so on. It's not particularly easy in a country like this. The literacy level is still suspect.
Yes, well, we know that, but we'll get there. And that's the reason we need vibrant young people to come into politics. We see what is happening in France and other countries. Young people, very young people are
Macron
there.
in France and
yes,
the man in Canada went through the mill.
Yes.
No, OJ went through the mill. The Macron in France is not an internet whiz kid. He's a politician. He went through the mill.
That's the reason that they were able to get in touch with the electorate. And with the way the world is moving, we should encourage our people to learn. Even my own mother at her age, my dad at 90, can still, I have to see, old man, this is the way to do it. And he's doing this, communicating with me via his WhatsApp. And I believe that it is not a difficult thing if we put it in the mind and we are able to educate ourselves.
You talked about a process. It's a process.
It's a process. It's a process.
Let me sound Adebayo here in Lagos out. Adebayo, welcome. Mr. Adebayo, I greet you. Welcome. No luck. Babatunde, you know, let's even broach the subject. Being internet savvy or being computer or millennium compliant does not make you a great elector, a politician. Let's start from there.
I disagree.
Okay.
I totally disagree.
Punctuate.
Internet penetration figures as shown on all the various indices, Alexa and so on, shows that Nigerians, 90 million Nigerians are on the internet. 90 million. That's a significant number. That's like 50% of the population. Now, if that's the case, you do have to consider that the majority of people who access the internet in that way are on their mobile phones. Almost everybody can operate these things.
We'll come back, but let me confirm Adebayo is back on the line. Adebayo, let's go. Are you there, Adebayo? Okay. Are we in business, Adebayo?
Good morning, sir.
Welcome.
There he goes.
Yeah, please, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
They greet you.
Good morning.
They greet you. Yeah, welcome.
Okay. I want to greet all people in the house.
Go on, sir.
We greet you. Good morning.
Not support the senators. Okay.
Please don't listen. Go on. Don't listen to your voice.
You have already spoke well. But
Adebayo, we cannot, but you said you are not in agreement with the senators. Let me go back there. 90 from your...
90 million Nigerians.
Yeah. How many of these 90 million voted at the last election? President Buhari got 14 million votes. I think Jonathan 12 million.
I was going to that.
Yeah, go to there.
Okay.
Go there.
Now, we do have a problem with INEC, a very, very serious systemic problem. I'll give you an example. Ikorodu, where I'm from, is probably the most populous local government in Nigeria. And there is... Arguably, that's why I said probably. Probably the most populous local government in Nigeria. And there is empirical evidence to support that, okay, from the World Bank and various other organizations. The truth is, less than 10% of the electorate in Ikorodu are registered to vote. And there is resistance from INEC to registering people to vote. There's only one registration center in Ikorodu, and that's inside Ikorodu GRA, which is gated, okay? And people can't get to it. When they eventually do get to it, they register maybe 2 or 3 people a day. And they tell them they start at around...
Not an internet whiz kid, he's a politician. He went through the mill.
That's the reason that they were able to get in touch with the electorate. And with the way the world is moving, which will encourage our people to learn. Even my own mother at her age, my dad at 90, can still, I have to see, old man, this is the way to do it. And he's doing this, communicating with me via his WhatsApp. And I believe that it is not a difficult thing if we put it in the mind and we are able to educate ourselves.
You talked about a process. It's a process.
It's a process. It's a process.
Let me sound Adebayo here in Lagos out. Adebayo, welcome. Mr. Adebayo, I greet you. Welcome. No luck. Babatunde, you know, let's even broach the subject. Being internet savvy or being computer or millennium compliant does not make you a great elector, a politician. Let's start from there.
I disagree.
Okay.
I totally disagree.
Punctuate.
Internet penetration figures as shown on all the various indices, Alexa and so on, shows that Nigerians, 90 million Nigerians are on the internet. 90 million. That's a significant number. That's like 50% of the population. Now, if that's the case, you do have to consider that the majority of people who access the internet in that way are on their mobile phones. Almost everybody can operate these things.
Back, but let me confirm Adebayo is back on the line. Adebayo, let's go. Are you there, Adebayo? Okay. Are we in business, Adebayo?
Good morning, sir.
Welcome.
There he goes.
Yeah, please, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
They greet you.
Good morning.
They greet you. Yeah, welcome.
Okay. I want to greet all people in the house.
Go on, sir.
We greet you. Good morning.
Not support the senators. Okay.
Please don't listen. Go on. Don't listen to your voice.
You have already spoke well. But
Adebayo, we cannot, but you said you are not in agreement with the senators. Let me go back there. 90 from your...
90 million Nigerians.
Yeah. How many of these 90 million voted at the last election? President Buhari got 14 million votes. I think Jonathan 12 million.
I was going to that.
Yeah, go to there.
Okay.
Go there.
Now, we do have a problem with INEC, a very, very serious systemic problem. I'll give you an example. Ikorodu, where I'm from, is probably the most populous local government in Nigeria. And there is... Arguably, that's why I said probably. Probably the most populous local government in Nigeria. And there is empirical evidence to support that, okay, from the World Bank and various other organizations. The truth is, less than 10% of the electorate in Ikorodu are registered to vote. And there is resistance from INEC to registering people to vote. There's only one registration center in Ikorodu, and that's inside Ikorodu GRA, which is gated, okay? And people can't get to it. When they eventually do get to it, they register maybe 2 or 3 people a day. And they tell them they start at around 12 o'clock and close at around 1 p.m. So how many people do get to register? Very few. People have been there 5, 6 times consecutively, and they've been unable to vote. So I identified with his postulation about the Southern Kaduna situation. It's not only in Southern Kaduna, it's here in Lagos as well.
Okay, okay.
So that's the reason why the voter figures are so low, because registration numbers, it seems to me that INEC is acting as a bottleneck to getting people to vote. They're not allowing people to register.
Since 1999?
Especially in the last 5 years.
Since 1999?
Especially more so in the last 5 years. Our population has grown, and 70% of the population are, you know, youth under the age of 35.
All right, we have George here. George, welcome.
Citizen John.
I greet you, sir.
Good morning to your guests as well. Citizen
Good morning,
John, your guest
George.
made they pursued an argument that the National Assembly has the right to set the sequence, but they don't have the power to set the dates. But they forgot that with what National Assembly has done now, the election will take 3 days. National Assembly, state assemblies, governorship, and presidential. But the constitution that we are working on gives INEC the power to fix dates and sequence. That amendment has not been done to the constitution. They hurriedly do it. I'm not aware of any public hearing that was conducted on this bill that they are passing. And the gentlemen there are saying that the one on the right side, he saw it, that he heard about it for about a month. That is not true. He also said he's there to represent the views of voters. I'm a voter. He's not representing me there, but from what I can hear him speak, he's representing the National Assembly. So truth must be told. There is a conspiracy, Citizen Jones, by some APC senators who are conniving with PDP senators to do this so as to feel comfortable when they become to the party they want to become and make things difficult for the other party. That is simply the truth.
All right.
Any other thing is false.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Facts are sacred. How do you close?
Well, I'm saying from what I know. I'm saying from what I'm part of. And everybody has the right to their own opinion. But what I've seen is that the sequence, we have a lot of things to even spend our energy, the president, to even look into with the speed the president acted on this. And he did not act on those other things. The economic issue concerning the security, and I believe that this one should not be taken as issue. And the National Assembly and the president should form a synergy to ensure that what the people want is good governance.
That's what we want, synergy. Yeah, how do you close that?
I'm a bit worried about the actions of this president over this specific bill. It would appear to me that he's afraid of the electorate. He's afraid that if the senators and the members of the House of Assembly are independently elected before his election, he might lose. That's the body language. That's what we're getting back from him. And he needs to, stand up to his reputation of being a general.
We'll end it there. But let me thank Babatunde Gbadamosi Olalere for coming. I greet you.
Babatunde Olalere Gbadamosi.
All right.
Last name Gbadamosi.
Babatunde Gbadamosi.
That's
welcome.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Ojo, Barrister Ojo O.J. Akinwale. I greet you.
It's a pleasure being here again.
Well, let me close the way I started. It's a very critical time in our evolution. The National Assembly and Mr. President have a right to exercise their independence, but they must not act independently of the country. I rest my case here. There's another program for tomorrow. On behalf of everybody here, I say thank you and take care of yourself. Bye-bye now.